Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our jointed SAM. You guys have requested it, and it is here, and we're going to jump right in. So, probably one of our more popular items are jointed figures. Well, obviously, for those of you that have made these with me in the past, you're pretty familiar with the process. We're going to go through it just like we did with the previous ones, and just kind of build Uncle Sam here in segments. And I'll go over everything here. So we're going to start off by putting his hands together and his arms. Each arm, left and right, is made up of two of these, and I inked just one of them because we don't need to ink both of them since one's going right on top of the other. So let's get our glue going here on one of these pieces. We're just going to sandwich it together with the other one. These are identical, so again, don't waste your time and your ink trying to ink both of them, since only one of them is going to actually show through. Just line that up as accurately as you can and press that down. Okay, next we're going to find this piece, and this is going to thicken it up but also add a little bit. You can actually see a little bit of his little dress shirt underneath. Okay, so this is going to go right on top, like so. Just want to match that up, and of course make sure that you match up the little hole for where the brad is going to go. And then finally, the main part of his coat, the blue part. Let's just get our glue on that. And then we're going to repeat this process with the other hand, or the other arm. Okay, and I inked just the edge of that there, but I did ink this entire piece right here, obviously. And I think, again, the 4th of July, it's one of those vintagey, rustic sort of holidays where if you want to get a little bit, crazier with your inking, by all means, this would be the time to do it. Okay, so I'm going to do the other one here as well. And we'll get that one glued into place. So I don't know if I've ever actually talked about this, but, well, let's just say that despite all the craziness, I am happy to be officially a citizen of this great country. That happened, I believe it was 2016 or 2017. I got my naturalization after years and years of my mom hounding me to get it done. My parents were actually naturalized even before I was. I guess I didn't really, when I was younger, I didn't really understand the importance of it. But, well, as you get older and you have kids and, you listen to and pay attention to the news more so than, in your younger days, you realize how important it is and how lucky we are to be where we are in this great country. Okay, so we're just going to put this one on just like we did the other one. Nothing different here. Okay, just match that up as accurately as you can. And there we go. So as I build these, I do want to just kind of put them underneath my mat and let them dry nice and flat. Okay. All right, next, we're going to grab his thighs here. Okay, and we've got two of these. You'll notice that on one side there's a little marker, and that is just telling us that this is the part that's going to connect to his body. Okay, it's just a little identifier for you. And again, I did take the white and I inked it with a little bit of turquoise, or a light blue would work just fine depending on what colors you're using for his outfit. I'm assuming you'd be using red, white, and blue. But yeah, we're going to glue one on top of the other, and then we do have some little stripes for this. And instead of making them separate, so you'd have to, kind of figure out where two things go, we join them together, so it's a lot easier. And you can see how it's rounded here. It's going to match up right up at the top, and then the bottom here, you want to make sure that you get that lined up so that it's flush with this part here. Now, if this one doesn't seem to fit properly, grab the other one. And I think that's probably why it looked like it was not fitting accurately. And that looks a lot better. Okay, so if one seems to be a tad bit off, just swap it and grab the other one. Okay, and again, just make sure that it's nice and flush at the top and bottom. And go easy on the glue here. We don't need a ton of glue. It's a very delicate little piece. Nice and easy, just like that. And again, if it helps to kind of just leave it on your surface, by all means, you can do that. And I would just kind of bring it down to where it's pretty much flush at the bottom. And then you can always give it a nudge left or right, depending on where it needs to go. And that is perfect. Okay. There we go. All right, so this one's done. I'm gonna put that underneath my mat, let that dry flat, and then we'll do the other side here. And just get some of the easy stuff out of the way as far as the limbs go, because those are the things that we need to join. And then we'll work on the main part of his body. Okay, so again, this is going right on top like so. It will only fit one way, so make sure you're putting it on correctly. And then this guy, let's just test this out, make sure that all fits and looks good, and it does. And let's get our glue going on here, nice and easy. Don't cake it with glue, because you'll be sitting there waiting for ages for it to dry, and we don't want that. Want to keep it moving here. Okay, if it looks like it's not matching up, just give it a little bit of a nudge and just press that down. There we go. And this part here, if it's not completely perfect, not a big deal, because this is actually going to go behind his torso. So if we have a little mistake there, I'm not worried about it. So that's that. We'll pop that underneath the mat, let it dry flat. And next, these are his arms. So there's two each, 2 layers. They're like little beans almost. Just find 2 that match and glue them together. Again, I only inked one of these since the other one's going to be pretty much completely hidden. No sense in wasting time in ink, but we do want to double this up to make it nice and strong. And the great thing about these is, well, they're fun for kids to do, I'd say, but also they store wonderfully. So you can put these pretty much anywhere. They'll store. You can use them year after year after year. Great little decoration. Fortunately, I guess not much. Well, school's usually out during Memorial Day as well as 4th of July. So I don't know if a lot of teachers decorate for any of these patriotic holidays. But anyway, so we've got 2 layers on each. We've got 2 of these total. I'm gonna pop that underneath my mat, and let's work on his legs. Okay, so the legs here, we've got 2 layers of black, then 1 white, 1 red, and then you're gonna need to find these little pieces. Okay, let me find the right one here. This little gold piece, that's for the soles of his shoes. Okay, and that is it for the legs. So let's get those going here. So we're going to glue one of the black layers on top of the other. Nice and easy. And get that glued into place. So for those of you that don't know, I know that you can't really tell based on the lack of accent, I guess, but I was actually born in Poland in 1982, and by the time, well, in 82, for those of you that are history buffs. All right, so we've got these 2 layers in place, and then we're gonna go with the white. And when you put this white piece down, just make sure that you get the little hole lined up with the existing hole on the black layers. But anyway, 1982, I guess I was born at a great time where Stalinism was infiltrating Poland. I'm sure it was infiltrating a lot of places. Stalinism, form of socialism. Parents were freaking out because you could barely buy any, you couldn't even get food. Everything was being controlled by a government, and my dad said, well, this just doesn't seem right. And he So this red piece here that's going on just like so, just like we did with the other part of the pant, or the pants. Just make sure that it lines up correctly. Should be nice and flush at the bottom, flush at the top. It's round at the top, obviously. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're gonna put this gold piece in place. Okay. And just, this is actually a gold foil. So it's not as porous on the back, which sometimes, well, just need to take your time while gluing. Make sure that I'm getting that lined up correctly. And if you are using a gold foil like I am, try to make sure you don't have any glue on your fingers, because sometimes that glue will actually blemish the foil and it's hard to get it off. Okay, so just be very careful. Okay, but that's what we want that to look like. Okay, so that's done. We'll put that underneath the mat, let that dry flat, and we'll do the other one. So needless to say, well, and you know, everyone has their views, but my dad wanted to get out of Poland because he just didn't like the direction that things were going. And I think at the time, who was president in '82 here? I think it was Reagan. And yeah, so that was that. He came here with a handful of money in his pocket, found some work, saved up a little bit of money, and then brought us over. Started a new life in the U.S. We actually lived in a Polish area in Chicago, and the rest is history, as they say. Okay, so this white piece again, matching it up with the black shadow layer. Make sure that you connect it and match it up with a little circle there where the brad's ultimately going to go, and flatten that out a bit. Okay, and as you can see here, I did hit this with a little bit of turquoise around the perimeter, and then of course we've got this little red piece that we need to glue down, just like we did before. So yeah, needless to say, I guess, yeah, we were actually, my mom and I, we were considered Polish refugees. Stayed in a refugee camp in Austria for a little while. That was pretty weird. I barely remember it, but I do have some covert traumas from that, I'm sure. Some strange memories. I think we flew into London and then ultimately O'Hare Airport in Chicago, where I saw my dad for the first time in a few years as a kid. And well, I'm thankful that he did. I'm grateful that he did what he did, because I would not be sitting here with you today had it not been for everything that happened. It's kind of like, I guess you can call it like the butterfly effect or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I don't know if I would have had the same opportunities in Poland. Well, I definitely would not have met the same people, would not have met and learned the skills that I have. So anyway, I guess in other words, this country has a special meaning to me, needless to say. All right, so that's done. The limbs are done, guys. So that means that we are now ready to start actually putting together his torso. And I have done, let me see here. Yeah, I've kind of going through and just piecing this layer by layer. And that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start off with the 2 white layers here, like so. And we're just gonna glue these together. There's really nothing different about these 2. This is again just for the base to make it nice and sturdy. I did hit this bottom section here with a little bit of turquoise. So that's pretty much the only area that I added ink to on this large piece. And we're just gonna glue this right on top of the other section. Okay, so let's get our glue flowing here. Got a lot of surface area here to cover, so go quick. If it helps, you could kind of break this up into 2 sections, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think we're gonna be okay. Just get this lined up. I was using the little wisps of hair here on the side as my initial guide. Obviously, you wanna make sure that all of the holes for the brads line up nicely, and that looks good. Okay, so our first layer is in place, and next, we're gonna take this red layer, okay, and this is gonna go on like this, just like that. Now in this case here, I haven't done this yet, and I'm actually going to do it now. But the only thing that we need to ink, if you're going to ink this piece, is this section here, and then these. Just the stripes, I should say. Okay, and I'm going to do that with you here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, as far as inking, I think I've mentioned this before, but anytime you're inking like a darker color like this, in this case red, adding another red on top of it probably won't work very well. It's not going to show through very well. So in this case, if you look, I'm actually using a purple. Purple actually, I think it's created by mixing red with various colors. I would guess probably a red and a blue. So there's already some red in it, so that's why it does blend well, and kind of just makes the red part of this look darker, which is what we're trying to achieve anyway. Okay, now the cool thing about the little pads that I have here is they can really just get into these little nooks and crannies here. And I'm not overly concerned about getting this caked with ink. I just want to create a little bit of contrast on the edges, and I think that's plenty. And then here we'll do the same thing, just kind of actually rubbing it along the very edge. And what I'll do is just work on the right side of all of these, and then I'll kind of flip and work on the left side. But I'm pretty sure most of you, if you are doing the inking, kind of using this technique too, and I think just a little bit of ink will help it stand out a little bit more against that white and create a nice separation, a nice little border, or at least the illusion of a border. Okay. There we go, that's fine. Okay. All right, so that's going to go down like this. And again, just want to match it up as accurately as you can. Okay. And let's make sure, yep. All right, let's get that glue flowing. Again, we've got a lot of surface area here. So go quick, because if you're using this Scotch Quick Dry, you know that it has a tendency of, well, drying quickly, which is what it's advertised to do. That's good in most situations. Sometimes when you've got a lot of real estate, it can be a little tricky, but I think we're going to be fine. Okay, again, I'm using the area of the hat as well as the hair, and then the little holes to get everything properly aligned. Oops, see now it already got tacky and it's starting to dry, so you gotta go quick. There we go. Now, worst case scenario, if for some reason it does end up drying prematurely and you've got little areas that maybe are not sitting completely flat, grab yourself a scrap piece of paper, throw a tiny little bit of glue right on one of the corners, and you can just literally slide that glue underneath these little areas here and press them down individually to get them to hold nicely. Okay, next up we've got well, we need to put the main blue part down, which is this guy here. And for this, all I inked on this was, what did I ink on this? Actually, you know what? I didn't even ink this, and I should have. And with this, because it's a darker blue, we're using purple on this as well. And if you are inking this, this is really the only part you need to ink, right here and about here. Okay, so let me get my purple ink going here. And we're gonna hit this with a little bit of purple. So as I was saying, well, purple again is actually, yeah, it's blue and red. This is why purple will work on blue and red like this. Especially, I do have a dark blue ink, but it doesn't really show up very well because this blue is already pretty dark as it is. Okay, so we'll do that part there, and I'm also going to hit this part here, and that's just going to make Mr. Sam here, Uncle Sam, look a lot more rustic. You know what I mean? There we go. And we'll start on this side here. Actually, you know what? I goofed up. Don't actually need to ink this part up here, but down here we do. Some of this is going to show through at the bottom, like so. Okay, and then of course we do need to do the outside perimeter. It's kind of goofy to hold, but it's okay. And you know, and like I said, I'm not being as cautious as I usually am with inking. I'm just kind of, you know, not rushing it either, but allowing room for, I guess, randomness is, I guess, the word maybe, or just, I'm not totally concerned about it being 100% consistent throughout, because it is, like I said, it's kind of a patriotic thing, and Uncle Sam, you know, he's gotten his hands dirty a little bit. Okay, so that's going to go on like this, okay, and yeah, let's get that glued down. All right. So again, got quite a bit of surface area here. Do your best to get that glue on there. I like to just do circles because I feel like it helps me kind of keep better control of it and do things quickly. It's really just kind of a muscle memory sort of thing in my hand. My hand knows how to do little circles, and just have to make sure that, you know, I keep them at the correct width. There we go. Okay, so just line that up as accurately as you can. This one's kind of a little tricky, I guess, because it does kind of move a little bit. There we go. That's good. Wonderful. All right, now while we're here, actually, while we're looking at this part of Sam, these little stars actually are going to go in like little puzzle pieces. So you could technically just throw a little bit of glue in here if you want, although I think it's probably safer to put it on the back of the piece that you're inserting. And you know, these stars are symmetrical, so it doesn't matter how you put them in, just make sure you get them into those little holes there. And then we have two small ones as well. I'm literally just going to put a little drop of glue right in the center of that thing, and that should do it. Pop that right in. Should fit like a glove, as they say. And I'll grab this guy here, one more little star. And of course I've got some dry gunk on the tip of my nozzle. And clean that off. I want this to sit nice and flush in there. If you happen to get a little too much glue on your star, just dab it with your finger, pull some of that off, and there we go. Okay. All right, so that's good. All right, now while we have this piece in this state, we're going to take this guy, and this guy's going to get glued in right here, just like a little puzzle piece. Okay. So let's take and flip this around, get some glue on here, top and bottom, and throughout. And just pop that in, like I said, just like a little puzzle. Make sure it matches up nicely at the bottom. That's actual glitter. I've not been using that a lot lately. Okay, and we've got this little piece here. Okay, and that's going to go right here, pretty much right where this little, what do you want to call it, little mountain is. And that's going to get glued right on there. And now, of course, I'm gluing foil onto glitter, which is a, let's just say it's not my favorite combination. And can be kind of tricky sometimes, but, and when I say tricky, I just mean that it does sometimes take an extremely long time for this to set. So what you could do is, you know, take like a heavy object, maybe, see, that just came off. Maybe just put that on there. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it helps it make contact and keeps it pushed down. I'm just going to do that. Okay. All right, so that's that. Okay, so that's all set. We have these little pieces here for his pockets. Okay, and those are going to go on like that. You can see that that's a little bit of a lighter shade of blue, and I did actually ink that with a darker blue. Okay, so I did not use the purple on that one. This is, you know, this lighter blue I think is better with a blue ink, but it definitely helps, you know, create that contrast. We did that with the Father's Day, or the Twist Pop for Pop card. We did a lot of inking on that to kind of help the different layers, well, create separation between the layers, I should say. Okay, there we go. So that is looking great. Now, we can start working on this guy here, the main part of, including the face and such. Okay, so we're going to start with the black piece. Okay, and this black piece is going to go on like this. Just going to match that up like so. Okay, I didn't do any inking on the black. It's rare that I ever ink black unless I'm inking it with white, probably for like a Halloween project or something like that, because nothing really is going to show up on black, obviously. Okay, unless it's a chalk ink, actually, you could probably get something to show up. I mean, is it really going to do much? Well, I guess it's possible. All right, so again, looking at the little wispies on the hair here as my initial guide, and then I'm looking at the chest area, pardon my head. Okay, make sure everything is nice and lined up, just like that. And there we go. This black part around this glitter, again, is going to kind of fit in like a little puzzle piece, so just make sure that everything is lining up nice and flush there for you. Okay, all right, so we've got that. Next, we're going to put down this color here. This is for the face, and again, to thicken things up a little bit, and you can see where the black is starting to show through. There we go. So let's get this going here. Now on this piece, I took a little bit of an orange, a light orange ink, and I kind of put a little bit of blush on Uncle Sam, just to kind of give his cheeks a little bit of a rosy appearance. And you're welcome to do that. Just kind of went wild with it. Nothing too crazy. All right, now since we're putting this on black, very important that we get it lined up correctly the first time without having to move it around too much. So take your time, make sure that you are lining things up. There we go. That works. That turned out perfect. Okay, line that up as accurately as possible. There we go. Okay, it's kind of fun seeing this thing come together layer by layer, if I do say so myself. Okay, next, we got two sections that we can work on here. I say we finish up the main part of this guy here. Now actually, there's one other thing too, is this guy here. I didn't put that in. It's okay. I mean, we can just put it in now. It's not a big deal. Might have been a little bit easier to do earlier, but it's okay. So this little piece here, it's almost got like a little arrow pointing down. It's part of his shirt. Throw a little bit of glue on that and pop that in there and press that down. And I need to actually take a little dowel to get the little corner piece in there to stay flat, but that worked out nicely. Okay, so that's in place. My apologies, there's just a lot of pieces here. Okay, next we're gonna put his hair in place. It's gonna go like this right here, like so. You can see that the blush is pretty much in a good place. It's not really blush, you know what I mean. Just wanted to give his cheeks a little bit of color. Okay, and use the little brim of the hat as your initial guide for placement. Again, also, we've got the little wisps of hair there to use as a guide as well. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Here we go. Wonderful. Okay, finally, I'm going to put the blue part of the hat in place to finish that section up. There we go. Line that up as accurately as you can. Beautiful. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. All right, while we're here, he does have some teeth. These are his teeth. They're going to go towards the top of the mouth. And I'll show you what I mean here. Just throw a few little drops of glue on there. Okay, so kind of put it, I'd say, right about there. Okay, if you have a little excess glue, just wipe it off. Okay, but that's what we want it to look like roughly. Okay, wonderful. All right, finally, finish up his little suit here. Okay, and we're gonna put this blue piece down. This blue piece has some beautiful little gold accents along the very edges, so we'll get those in place afterwards. There we go. All right, just match that up with the existing shadow area there, like so. Make sure that these line up here at the bottom. They're going to be a little bit, they're going to kind of have a mind of their own a little bit. Just have to make sure you kind of nudge them left or right, depending on where they need to go. Okay, and this is the little part that I was telling you about here. That's going to add a nice little touch to it. Okay, it is a little bit of a delicate piece, so you want to take your time with it and don't go too crazy with the glue on this. Just need a little bit, and I would definitely take and just kind of dab that a little bit to thin it out. Okay, and let's do our best here. I'm going to actually start right here where this little V is, I guess you can call it. Get it lined up there, and then you work your way down. And if the glue's kind of dried out already, we can just use our little painting method to fix that up. But I actually got it on there nicely, no problems. I don't think, not yet anyway. Yeah, it looks good. All right, I'm on a roll today. And we'll do the same thing with the other side. We just got a few more little bits to add to it, and then we can start putting them together. He's got a nose still that we need to put in. Okay, again, sometimes it's hard to control the amount of glue that comes out, especially on a small area, so if you need to, just clean it up with your fingers. Here we go. Pop that in place. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of reflective. There we go. And again, don't get discouraged if you have a little area that maybe is not sitting flat, because we can always just paint a little extra glue under it. And the cool thing about the gold foil is that, well, it doesn't dry up the glue as quickly because it's not as porous. But I am going to take a little bit of extra glue here on the tip of my scrap piece of paper, because this part down here is kind of loose and I don't want that. Okay, we'll just clean that up, press it down. There we go. I love being able to cut all these little details with the Cricut. It does a really good job. Okay, let's get his nose in place. I did ink the entire perimeter of the nose. So just get your glue on there and pop it right there. You got some little markers there to help you with the placements. That looks great. He's looking sharp. He's a sharp dressed dude. Okay, let's get his little bow in place. So we did that with some glitter as well. That's going on flat. Okay. So anyway, I was talking about my experience here. But yeah, I've been here since I was 3. Started kindergarten here. Didn't speak a word of English. I actually learned to speak German while I was in the refugee camp in Austria. And just kind of got thrown into the school system. It was scary, I will say. All right, so then on top of the bow, we got to put his little beard or goatee, whatever you want to call it. I think it's kind of just a little facial hair there. That's going to go right there. Match that up with the existing shadow section on the bow. Press that down. There we go. And then we've got a second layer that goes right on top. This is AC Stone, I believe the color is. I did ink the entire perimeter of this with a little bit of gray. Okay, and that's going to go right up at the top there. There's like a little nub. Just match that up. And there we go. Perfect. Hey, he's looking sharp. All right, he does have a little flower made up of these two little pieces, very tiny little thing. You can take it and just kind of twirl the petals between your fingers to give them a little bit of dimension, make them pop out a bit. And you can just take and throw just a dot of glue on there, and that's going to go right there. You can use the back of a dowel or something to kind of press it down into place. And then we'll grab the smaller one. Again, I'm going to take that and just kind of twirl it between two of my fingers to kind of curl it up, just like that. Flip it around, put a little drop of glue on the back of that, pop that right in the center, and try to offset it so that the petals are not right on top of each other. Each one's kind of sticking out a bit. There we go. And we'll put a little rhinestone or something in there. Okay. All right, so that's that. It's now time to assemble the rest of them. All right, so let's grab our pieces that have been sitting under the mat here, flattening out for us, and let's put our Sam together. Okay, now one thing I did is I went through my stash of brads and I found some blue that works really well with the blues that I have here. I didn't have any white ones, so I actually just took these and I painted them. So that's always an option. Okay, so let's start off here. We've got these guys here. Okay, so the right leg, you'll notice that this part kind of comes out a lot more. Okay, that's how you know that's the right leg. So that's going to go underneath, and obviously because this is on white, I'm going to use a white brad. And we'll just open that up. There we go. Let me grab another white brad here. Pop that in. There we go. Okay, I'll grab the legs here. And again, I've got this on red. Actually, it's white there. So we're gonna go white. And that's gonna go, well, we wanna grab the right foot. The left foot, I should say, the correct foot. There we go. Grab another white one. Pop that in. And connect that there. Spread the little guys out. There he is. He's looking sharp. Okay, next we've got the arms. And what we want to do is the left side's going to be there, right side's going to be there. You'll notice that there's the little identifiers there to help you figure out what goes where. And the bottom kind of dips out more. So that's how you know that that's the bottom. I'm going to use my blue pin there, or brad I should say. And we'll spread that out. There we go. And let's see, he's going to be waving. He's going to be waving with his left hand, so that's going to go there. We'll put this one on this side and grab my blue brad. This one's going to go on top, like so. Spread that apart. There we go. And here's the blue that's going under. Brad going through the top, right through there. There we go. Okay, and then finally, we've got this guy here that's going to go on top. So we'll slide that through, spread those apart, and voila. Okay, Uncle Sam is done. Just want to kind of go over some other things here too. We've got, we're going to add some gold some gold pearls here, just kind of like little cufflinks. And it's going to be put some bling right here in the center. That would look cool. We'll put a little bit of gold on his pockets for the little buttons, or yeah, it's probably just a button. And then also in the center of the flower there, we're going to put some bling, probably some. I'd probably just put some gold in there. But so that's it for Uncle Sam. I think he looks great. And again, don't forget to bling them out if you want. Totally optional, but I think it would definitely help. Oh, and also right on the vest here, you can add a few little buttons as well. So just take a look at the final photo just to get some ideas on how you can bling it out. But that's going to do it. A great little centerpiece for your little patriotic festivities, whether it be Memorial Weekend. This was intended to be released early so that you can make it on 4th of July. Just so happens that we're releasing it Memorial Weekend as well, so you may have some time still to get some stuff done for Monday or Sunday if that's when you plan on having your little get-togethers. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. As you can see, we've got approaching 47,500 of you, so thank you to each and every one of you. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in this little URL that you see here at the bottom. Oh, and I almost forgot, on the eyes, you can add little pearls there to give them some eyes, obviously. So that's going to do it. Happy 4th of July, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.